Hello everybody, welcome along. My name is Benjamin Bloom. This is the Benjamin Bloom Football Channel. Please leave your bias at the door and join us for another Dearly Departed review. Round 21 in the Premier League for our 5 Dearly Departed teams. Leeds, Villa, Norwich, Watford, Brentford, the 5 teams we're covering this season. Those clever people that got themselves promoted out of the Championship. But I'm not going to stop covering them. Absolutely not. And it was actually a good weekend. Unless you're a Villa fan or a Watford fan, Norwich didn't lose, but they had their game postponed. And Leeds and Brentford both won. Okay, we did have a dearly departed derby, so we were guaranteed some points somewhere. But look, we've had a few slow weeks. We've had a few very bad weeks, actually. 0 points weeks. So I'm going to take it and we're going to get into each of those games. First of all, let's say a big thank you to Simon, who is our dearly departed fan sponsor over on Patreon. Simon Hoyle, 25 years. A Brentford fan, finally the bus stop in Hounslow in the Premier League. Thanks for Dad for taking me in 96 when football was not such a priority. Big thank you to Simon, who is a sponsor. Got involved over on Patreon. Patreon.com/Benjamin Bloom. This will always be free on YouTube, but you can support my work if you're feeling kind financially, like Simon has, because he's a very kind man, over on Patreon. Here are the results for the game round. Obviously, dearly departed teams with the bells by the side. Leicester and Norwich postponed. Watford 0, Tottenham 1, late defeat for Watford. Brentford 2, Villa 1 in the dearly departed derby. Leeds 3, Burnley 1 in a very, very big bottom 6-pointer, whatever you want to call it. Shall we get into the games? And we will start with that dearly departed derby where Brentford took on Villa. So it was Brentford 2, Villa 1. Quick plug, this was the main game on the watch along yesterday on the stream, and I have taken out the goal reactions. People love to see them, and posted them as YouTube shorts. So I've done your work for you. People always tell me they skip along and find the goal reactions. And there were 3 of them, because Villa took the lead in this one. And then Brentford showed the fighting spirit and tenacity that they have done all season to come from behind, get the win, especially at home at that new stadium. Looking good down there, aren't they? Villa had been looking good against every other team outside of games against Man City, Liverpool and Chelsea. Steven Gerrard had won all his other games and he led in this one. But ultimately, Brentford get the victory. And look, we think Villa will probably be all right come what may. But Brentford now looking closer and closer to the points total that we sort of set for them in terms of avoiding relegation. They look a long way above that at the moment, don't they? So more power to the Bees. Here are your teams. Brentford still without Raya in goal. Fernandes in there, still without Asia at the back. So the back 3 is Pinnock, Janssen, Sørensen. Canos and Rørslev are the wing backs, so still no Rico Henry. Jensen, Norgard, Onyeka across the middle. Tony partnered by Visa up front. No Brian Mbuemo for Villa. Martinez, Cash, Konza, Howes, Target. I nearly said Mings there just by complete muscle memory. No Mings in this one. Howes replacing him. McGinn, Louise, Ramsey across the middle. Traore gets a start. Ings and Buendia up top. And Buendia did get me very excited on the watch along with his assist for this opening goal. This is absolutely brilliant. Probably the best thing we've seen Buendia do in a Villa shirt since his big move. A pirouette, completely mugs off his man. And then we've seen this a million times in the Championship. These little through balls on the move. That's his entire game in microcosm there. Strength, skill, movement, ball carrying, penetrative passing into the penalty box, and an assist for Danny Ings, who does have a fair amount to do to finish there, to find that corner. Fernandes' positioning's not so bad, is it? But Ings, first time, just slots it in the bottom corner. It's a great goal that gives Aston Villa the lead, I think, on 16 minutes, that one. And honestly, And sometimes I get accused of not paying full attention on watch-alongs. That's fair enough. I'm doing about 25 things at once. But my sense really in that first half that Villa weren't really uncomfortable there, and they were playing it quite well. However, Brentford are going to snatch an equaliser on 42. Roerslev, more from him later, plays it inside. And it's just very good from Visa. Look, he's got the shade of Ezri Konsa there, the former Brentford player, of course, to bend that one round. You can see Martinez is looking around, but he's on his toes. He's a great keeper, Martinez, so this has to be right in the corner to beat a keeper of that quality. And it is. Visa curls it with the left foot into the side netting. I don't know. You tell me, Brentford fans, Villa fans, against the run of play, that one, it is what it is. Do you know what? I'll give you some first half numbers to see if I'm right and my eyes are deceiving me. Not massively. 6 shots to 4 in the first half. No big chances to either team. And in fact, what I will say is, in terms of pure numbers, both sides scored with their only shot on target in the first half. I just had the sense, the stats don't always tell us everything, that in terms of control, give me a stat for control, that Villa looked all right and fairly comfortable in the first half. Let me know if you agree, disagree with that. That is your prerogative, and we do encourage debate in the comments on this channel, providing it's done politely. But Brentford are going to go on and win the game. An 83rd minute winner. And again, I didn't really see it coming. I think Brentford would call this a battling win. Do you agree? Maybe I'm being too hard on them. But Roerslev pops up in the box. He hits the shot first with the right foot. The first one is saved by Martinez, and then he just has to bend the left footer into the corner. It's just a matter of react. You've got to hit it first time, control the shot, get it into the corner. And he does. And he looked absolutely made up, didn't he, Roerslev? He's not necessarily a star turn in this Brentford team, is he? He's not Ivan Toney or Brian Mbeumo or, one of maybe the bigger named Scandinavian boys in the midfield. But he's popped up with a really important assist and a goal, and a winning goal in this game. Let me know your thoughts. The numbers do intimate that it's a tight game, that Brentford perhaps won. I don't know, effort, endeavour, right place, right time, a combination of all. You tell me. But 55-45 to Villa on the possession, 16-10 on the shots, 5-4 on target, 7-3 corners. No big chances recorded in the game by the SofaScore metric. But looking at the in-for-goal XG, in terms of chance accumulation, Villa 1.11 to 0.73 there. So I think my eyes are not deceiving me. And, I mean, you tell me, we'll probably have Brentford fans will say, look, if you're going to survive in the Premier League, be hard to beat, be competitive in games, and take your chance when you do have a chance to win. And we've said, particularly in terms of Norwich, that they don't do that, do they? In a chance to win a game in the main, and they'll go under. And Brentford sort of aren't doing that, and that's why they're nicely above the teams at the bottom. In terms of Villa, be very interested in people's reaction, because it's the first defeat for Stevie Gerrard that wasn't against Liverpool and Man City and Chelsea, those big teams. It is spotty for Gerrard. It's either win or loss so far. But my sort of read on it, he's done a good job so far. Really nice to see Buendia doing it in the Premier League as well for Villa. So that's a positive. But they've lost the game, haven't they? So be very interested in some feedback for Villa. We'll look at the table properly. I just got it over here. Brentford 12th, Villa 13th. Both fairly comfortably above the point per game in terms of being away from that mess at the bottom. I suspect if you ask both sets of fans now, middle of the table is probably where they're both focusing at. And for Villa, after changing manager, probably take that and stabilising under Steven Gerrard and then moving forward. For Brentford, they'd certainly take mid-table, given how tricky it is for promoted teams coming up. So let me know your thoughts on that one. In the dearly departed derby, it was Brentford 2, Villa 1. Okay, on we go to a very big win for Leeds United. I was chatting to some Leeds friends on Twitter before this one, sort of, I can't watch, and this game defines the kind of direction of travel for the season. It really did feel like a big crossroads game for Leeds and Burnley. Leeds win, and the gap is now 8 points. If Burnley had have won that, take 3 off Leeds, add 3 on to Burnley, and that gap would have been 2 points, and we very much would have had a Premier League bottom 5, whereas Leeds winning just pushes everybody away, doesn't it? And it's more a bottom 4, which Leeds are very much not a part of, and they have reached my magic 1 point per game, which will project them 38. I did hear a pundit say the average, I haven't done the maths actually myself, I've done it all on the Championship, but 35, I think, is the average. I don't know whether that's 5-year, 10-year, whatever. But Leeds pushing away from that relegation zone, which is the task in hand at the moment. And look, Burnley are a tricky opponent, aren't they? So we hear a lot of things when we're looking at this relegation battle that pertain to Burnley, where everyone says, "Oh, they know what they're doing. They'll get out of it." And these are the sort of occasions where Burnley step up, isn't it? In bottom 3, bottom 4, bottom 5. Well, Leeds are now 5th from bottom clashes. And Leeds have got the win. So really, really good news after lots of goals shipped and 3 straight defeats for Leeds. So pleased to be talking about a win for them. There is the side: Meslier, Ailing, Koch, Rente, Dallas, Firpo, Forshaw, Click, Rafinha, Harrison, and Roberts. We normally have a rule with BL so we don't get too bogged down in team shape. So I'll just read out the players before we have a massive debate about what is a 3-3-3-1 or a 4-1-4-1 or a 3-4-3 or whatever. Who cares? For Burnley, Hennessy in goal, Loughton, Tarkowski, me, Taylor, McNeil, Westwood, Cork, Goodmanson, Lennon and Wood, an ex-Leeds front two. Taylor, was Loughton Leeds as well? Sheffield United, I can't quite remember, but of course Chris Wood, a fine player for Leeds. And where's my list? The Championship top goal scorer in 16-17 under Gary Monk, no less, wasn't it? With 27 goals. So a return to Elland Road for a former Leeds goal scorer. We know how that can often end, don't we? But not in this one. Here's the opening goal for Leeds, scored by Jackie Harrison in the 39th minute. And it's one of those, he comes in from the left-hand side, and I think I'm not misremembering it. It's quite similar to Roerslev for Brentford in terms of the actual description. You can see Hennessy's on the deck there. The ball comes back to Harrison, and again, it's just, can you react quickly? Can you hit the target? And he kind of just gets enough on the shot to get it in and past Hennessy. Harrison, we're looking for Leeds players to step up in the goal scoring stakes. That was disproportionately done by Patrick Bamford last season, and he's not been around a lot this season, has he? So Harrison stepping up there with a goal coming in off the left-hand side. Sorry, let me just give you a number for Harrison for the season, if my laptop will play ball. Over here. Oh, actually, first goal of the season. Yeah, only 1 goal, 1 assist for Harrison down the left. So I suspect Leeds fans would probably appreciate a bit more of a goal contribution from him going forward. 1-0 Leeds. But a fine free kick from Maxwell Cornet in the 54th minute here. You can see Meslier is looking to the left of the wall. Cornet hits this one the other side. Perhaps he's unsighted. I'm sure we'll get some comments about his position away from the line, and were he 1 step further back, could he have made it across? It's one of those where the free kick is a good free kick, but people will point out the height of it and maybe the pace of it kind of floats into the corner rather than arrows in, and it's right in the top corner. So I don't know whether we're being totally unfair there to Meslier. I'm sure Meslier himself will be cross, given how far out it is, how and where and why it went in. He'll think that he would have saved that, but goalkeepers think that they're going to save everything, don't they? But Cornet's been a good player for Burnley this season, but Leeds will be disappointed to concede such a low percentage chance as the goal. However, they are going to come back. Gelhardt comes in for Roberts. James comes in for Harrison. And talk about goal contributions. They're both going to get one. Not for this goal, though, but for the last goal. A winning goal, we get lots of pedantic arguments about what a winning goal is. And can you only have a winning goal in a game that's won by one goal? Anyway, in the final goal. This is not the final goal. This is Stuart Dallas, who always does a turn for Leeds. I've had to watch this a few times. I wonder whether it deflected off the covering defender there. I still can't tell, to be honest. Whichever happens, again, Dallas knows there's players in the way, and he knows if he can find that corner with the left foot. I remember him scoring a curler. It was in the playoff semi-final, wasn't it? Leeds fans don't like me reminding them of that game against Derby. I think that might have been with his other foot as well, possibly. But anyway, he does the business here. He's come nice and central. Dallas bends that in with his left foot. Been such a consistent player, man for all seasons for Leeds. Stuart Dallas. And here is we won't call it the winning goal. Let's call it the decisive goal. In stoppage time, Leeds do the business. 92nd minute. And it is Joe Gelhardt with the cross. One substitute to Dan James with the header. Obviously, Dan James is not arrived at Leeds for his aerial prowess, arriving on the back post for crosses. He's there for his speed and direct attacking skill. However, you'll take it. Heads down. It's a funny one because it kind of bounces up. Take a look at the slow-mo and look at the faces behind the goal. That Leeds, is it going in? Is it going in? Is it going in? Yes, it drops over the goal line. And Leeds get a vital win. 3-1 in this big bottom 5 clash. There are the numbers. Look at that. That's what you want to see, isn't it? SofaScore lights up in green if you are leading in any of those numbers if you're the home team. And look at that. A highly viable performance from Leeds. They're coming ahead on possession, on shots on target, on corners, on big chances. And they're the things we always look at as a viable performance. I will say 1.11 on the XG against. I mean, look, is it just typical Leeds that they're open and they concede chances? You'd want that to be lower, wouldn't you? Because there's two things to say about that. Against perhaps better sides, some of those chances will result in goals. And bear in mind, the Burnley chance was scored from miles out, so that's probably not really much of a factor in that chance conceded. And also, will better sides create even more than that? However, it is a viable win for Leeds, and I suppose I'm nitpicking there when you really think that all they conceded was a massively long-range free kick. So really, really important win for Leeds. We'll look properly at the league table, but my view of it is that bottom 4 now, whether this plays well for Burnley and their experience and Newcastle and their money, it looks like 1 out of 4 is going to survive right now. That could change, but Leeds fans will probably be thinking, look, the further away they are, the better. Get Phillips back, get Bamford back, and we're repeating stuff we've said many times this season. The trend up will come, and it's still never come. But if you can't have a sustained period of good form, win the big games, for God's sake. And Leeds have done that here against Burnley. Get your comments in. Leeds 3, Burnley 1. Okay, so I've talked about 2 wins. Let's talk about a depressing defeat for Watford. It was Watford 0, Spurs 1. Watford shut out and conceded in the 96th minute. I know there's not, when you're in a relegation chase, there's not that much difference between 0 and 1 point. It's the 3 that really, really moves things, doesn't it? And okay, if you can get draws and not lose, that's helpful. But ultimately, we know that you need those 5 to 10 wins to pad that points total, add draws in on top. Can you win 10 and draw 8 to get to 38? But win 10 and draw 5. It's all about the wins. But defeats can be demoralising, and defeats in the 96th minute can be very, very demoralising. And I have to say, obviously follow Watford on the Twitter feed. On the Water feed. Nice Sloydian frip there. Or is it? Or is it just joining two words together? Anyway, and all the chat was about, is this right? Don Claudio in there, and we know what Pozzos tend to do when things aren't going well. They tend to try and get a little burst with a new manager. I'm not suggesting that's the right or wrong thing or is going to happen. I'm just saying that was the conversation on my Twitter feed in particular. And I think it's 9 defeats in 11. Is that the right number for Watford under Claudio? Not going well at all. Now, here are the teams. I must confess, I'm not 100% clued up on what is ultimately going to be happening to the AFCON players for Watford. There's been like some statement released about Ismail Assar as well, and lots of chitter-chatter about Dennis. So I'm going to leave that subject alone and we'll just focus on this. Needless to say, are Watford going to prefer to have their African players or not? Of course they're going to prefer to have them in January. But look, we've got FA Cup to contend with first. So, yeah, we'll see what transpires in terms of... Well, Sarr is a great player, but Dennis has been the one, hasn't he, doing the business for Watford. Anyway, backman in goal for Watford. Cathcart, Ekong, Sierralta, Messina. Ekong, of course, a Nigerian player as well. Kutska, Luza, Sissoko, Sema, Dennis and Josh King. For Spurs, Lloris, Sanchez, Dyer, Davies, Region, Royal, Skip, Højbjerg, Mora, Kane and Son. And yeah, looking at the numbers, and we will do, and I've watched the highlights package. Please give me your comments if you were there or you watched the whole 90 minutes by whatever means you managed to do that. But it looked like Spurs were pushing and pushing and pushing, and Son flicked one past the post with a back heel, and Kane curled one past the post, and maybe Dyer got pulled down, and it could have been a spot kick. So even though the defeat comes late in the game, it was coming. Is that a fair comment? You let me know down there in the comments, and I'm looking at the numbers, and well, we'll do them in a minute. Let's just deal with the goal, which, as I've said on multiple occasions already, comes in minute 96. Heung-min Son, who's got so much quality, he's a world-class player, isn't he? Bends that free kick in. Sanchez gets up in front of backman and heads it into the goal. Look, we're in two things can be true territory, I know, but the first thing anyone's going to say when a ball is headed in inside the 6-yard box from like 2 yards is, where's the keeper? Could he have got there first? Obviously, there's the mitigating circumstance. I will accept the argument, look, it's a quality delivery. He's dropped that right in there with pace. It's a very dangerous position to be crossing in from. It is what it is. Look, the ball ended up in the net. The whys and wherefores, don't really matter. What does matter is that Watford got 0 points a game. And who were the wins against? Everton and Manchester United. And I don't know. You then start to redefine and rewrite those victories, because Manchester United were at a low ebb, and the Everton one was crazy, wasn't it? 5-2, and everything seemed to be flying in. Watford fans would, I presume, love to see some more viable performances rather than just, those 2 victories popping up. Here are the numbers, and yeah, you take my point, don't you? Look, 74% possession, 21 shots they conceded, 7 corners, only 2 big chances, so they didn't defend terribly. In fact, when you consider how much possession they had and how many shots they faced, probably defended quite well, or they got lucky and Spurs didn't have their shooting boots on. You tell me. XG 2.09 for Spurs. Watford didn't create a lot, 0.42. Even though it's a 96th minute win, it feels like a viable win. If you had all that information and didn't know the timing of the goal, you would say, okay, 9 times out of 10 with those numbers, Spurs win that game and Watford don't. So the debate will rage as it pertains to Ranieri. We expect some activity in the transfer window. Watford fans are fed up about talking about the defence, but we expect it in that area as well. Who knows about the African players in the Watford squad, the ones that are potentially going to be missing and what impact that will have. We'd said about Claudio, hadn't we, that he had the really difficult run to begin with, but now is where, I know it's Spurs, okay, Spurs you'd include now, especially with Conte, as a difficult game, but where is this going? Look, Watford aren't in the bottom three, are they? They're still dining out on the 13 points that they have managed to secure, but they're way off the point per game. We'll look at the table properly, but yeah. Give me your thoughts in on this game and the immediate future for Watford. It was Watford 0, Spurs 1. So there you go. Look, Norwich postponed, Norwich versus Leicester, so nothing to talk about there. I should just say as a point of order, Brentford Man City got kind of detached from everything else, so we didn't cover that game on any Dilly Departed video. I think it was just before Christmas, wasn't it? Or was it a late? I can't remember. There's been so much football. So my apologies there if you didn't hear me talk about Brentford versus Man City. But hey, we're talking about Brentford winning a game instead. So let's have a look at the table. And our highest ranking team is now Brentford. 23 points from 19 games, which means if that 35-point average is anything to go by, Brentford are 12 points from survival. 4 victories in 19 games. Can they do it? I suspect they can. It would be a horrible run if they don't. Aston Villa, still spotty under Gerrard. Look, 7 wins is the most of anyone in the bottom half, but 11 defeats is considerably more than, you need to go all the way down. Well, I'll give you a better stat. Only Watford and Norwich have lost more games than Aston Villa this season. So spottiness can be good in terms of focus, getting the 3 points, but they are losing a lot of games, Villa, across the run of the season. Steven Gerrard, okay, that's his first one that wasn't a defeat against Liverpool, Chelsea or Man City. Interested to hear from Villa fans, what does that defeat do to the context of where you think things are heading? Because I thought, okay, they're heading nicely upwards, but we will see going forward. Leeds, big win. Really pleased about that one for our Leeds friends. And look down the bottom. There's just no wins going in. Below Leeds, look, Watford 5 defeats in 5. Burnley no wins. Norwich 5 defeats in 5. And 1 for Newcastle 5 games ago. So that's what we're talking about, this low tide and about this dirge at the bottom. Nobody is winning. Nobody is winning, and Leeds, particularly in a 6-pointer there, getting the win is vital. Watford, a long run of defeats, and really, Watford fans will notice it's only the ineptitude of those below them that's keeping them out of the bottom. Hey, that'll do them. If that's the story, and Watford survive with 28 points or something low like that, then so be it. But you'd want your destiny to be in your own hands rather than the bottom 3 just being utterly terrible, and Norwich are at the bottom of that bottom 3. But look, they had a horrible time, didn't they? We talked about a 5-0 and then a 3-0 at Crystal Palace. All sorts of toxicity, lots of arguing, infighting in their fan base as well. So look, a week off, FA Cup won't do Norwich any harm, and we can get back to chatting about the Canaries when we return with that, what will it be, January the 15th, that sort of weekend. Right, there we go, everybody. That is our show for Dearly Departed. Up next on the 15th, look at that, Newcastle v Watford. Woof. Norwich versus Everton. They're both all bottom 6 clashes, those. I know every game seems hard when you're down there, but those are the ones. Those are the ones, aren't they? Villa play Manchester United. Brentford have a nice easy trip to Liverpool. West Ham, Leeds. By the way, Villa Man United is also the FA Cup game, and West Ham Leeds is also the FA Cup game. So those two teams are going to be sick of the sight of each other by the time we get to the next Dearly Departed show, which will be for round 22. Thank you, everybody, for watching. Thank you again to Simon, who's our fan sponsor over on Patreon. Please do get involved, patreon.com/Benjamin Bloom. Get your comments in on any of our dearly departed teams. And it's a lovely big over and out from me. See you soon.